Right, so this is just a quick run through and a few updates around the scheme and what I've been doing so far. And a few very short comments on the new arrivals that have been coming into the UK recently. So I've been leading the scheme for a few years, following some very big footsteps from Mike Davison, my predecessor. So firstly, a huge thank you to Mike for all the work that he's done in the past. He just is continuing to be involved as well. He's always at the other end of the email, so thank you for those. So I've referred to everyone involved in the scheme as we. There's a lot of contributors from the BAS, also some recorders, verifiers, everybody who's involved. It's been very popular, so thank you for everyone that's contributed. What have we been up to recently? Unfortunately, not meeting up because of COVID. So that's something I'm definitely looking to do in the future. As a result, I've still not met a lot of you, so it's nice to virtually meet up and have a little chat. We're doing some socially distant outreach a while ago. I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes management of the database and records and getting new people involved. So firstly, the website, the SRS website, doing a lot of updates, and this is all based on the records and the information that people have been submitting, especially for new species like Scotolemon dorée. This is one that's been found 2017 in Plymouth and in Guernsey as well in very large numbers. It's a very small harvestman that's likely mistaken as a mite. So adding to the website, this is photos that have been submitted with those records, and just gives us a little bit of insight into this species, whether it's going to pop up more commonly when people go looking for it, or whether it's just an isolated population. We still don't know. We've still got so much to find out about these. So uploading new data, we've had another arrival, Dicranopalpus larvatus, which is a very distinctive Dicranopalpus species, which has popped up very frequently, very quickly, mainly in the Channel Islands and southern England. And that seems to be sort of spreading across the country quite rapidly. Whether it's been missed before, we're not really sure. It is quite a small, different Dicranopalpus with distinct markings. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye out. It does mature in the winter as well, so it might have just been that people aren't really looking for it in the winter. It tends to become adults around February time, so a little bit different. But that's been recently recorded in York as well, so definitely one to look out for. So we found out a little bit of information. Again, this has come from people's records and observations in Italy. It's only ever found in Italy otherwise, which a lot of them seem to be. They come from Italy and they come over here. We've still got so much to find out about it, but that is the information available on the species text at the moment. So any information about kind of behaviour, whether it's in the same places as a Dicranopalpus, whether they all coexist or whether they occupy different niches, we're still finding out. It does seem to be a lot more ground dwelling and a little bit less arboreal than the other species, so quite interesting. I've done a little bit of public outreach. Again, that's something that definitely want to do more of in the future when everyone's vaccinated and everything's settled down a little bit. We attended the Vertebrate Science Fair along with the BAS, and that's a really good opportunity to engage with the public and tell them what they're all about. There was a little activity that was identifying a daddy longlegs. So I had a huge poster of crane flies, cellar spiders and harvestmen, and just got the kids to point out which were harvestmen and which were other things, which is something that I think people get confused about and is something that people responded to really well. So things like that would be definitely up for in the future. So how do we connect to people during a pandemic? In a way, the lockdown, I think from a recording perspective, has been a little blessing in disguise. A lot of people have been kind of going around in their gardens and their local areas, you know, especially those with nothing to do in the summer. It seems to be quite a lot of interest has been developed just in local wildlife and harvestmen as well. Harvestmen particularly as a side project for other recorders. It's kind of, you know, there's around 30 species, so it's something that people can do on the end of their summer when the autumn's coming in. So how do we connect? Online, pretty much. The Facebook page has got over 1,000 members, and that's been a really good resource for everybody that's been contributing. So it's, again, something that I set up a few years ago just because I wanted to know more about harvestmen, and There's been some fantastic contribution from loads of people about their sightings. It's something that you can check on very quickly. Say you find a harvestman, you're not sure what it is, go on the Facebook page and there might be some recent posts of people that have found it recently. And it's a good way to say, is this the one that I think it is? How do I find out a bit more information? There's a few files on there as well that are available for sort of identification of common species like Leobonums. So that's been really popular. Twitter, that obviously includes all arachnids, so Harvestmen as well. Done a few tweets about Harvestmen. It's been really popular, as Laura said earlier, and widely used by the scientific community. So that's quite a nice quick update of, oh, I've seen this thing, let's share it, or what is this, or how do I find out a bit more about that? Done some quizzes on there as well, which has been quite popular. So that's something that might come up in the future as well. My Naturalist has been quite popular with species like Rylena triangularis. So that's something where people can get their records verified. It's not a recording means, but it also retains their posts for later on. So it's not sort of buried under new material. You don't have to scroll through, find your things quite easily. And YouTube is a new one that we're hoping to develop, as you mentioned before. I'm hoping to add some recording videos on there as well, and sort of survey techniques and identification. So that's quite exciting. So for those who aren't aware of how the records come in and how they're processed, MapMate is what we've always used. It's a fantastic program, and that's how we make all the maps on the SRS website. So all the records that come in have been verified already. They come through the area recorders and include some really important habitat data, which we use for the website. We've got quite a lot of records on the database over the years. So all this information on the species pages has all come from that recording. So it tells us a lot about the time of year that you can find something and where and when. So iRecord is something that is a little bit in debate with the spider community because it's a way of submitting records, but it relies heavily on photographs for verification. But it is something that's really useful for Harvestmen because most of them can be identified through photographs. So we've had quite a few thousand records submitted recently. And also the iRecord app is really handy for finding something in the field. It gets your location and you can submit photos with it. So that's been quite popular. So also thank you to my verifiers that we've all been sort of collaborating and verifying all these records. So this is just a little bit about the coverage of what we got. So there's all of the records of Harvestmen on the left, and then on the right is the only accepted ones that have been verified and accepted as correct or considered correct. So quite a good spread all around the country. It's just a little bit of information about how many we've sort of queried and accepted and not reviewed. So yeah, getting through quite a lot of them. And some information about photographs as well. So how many people are including photographs? Definitely we always need more. And how many without. So a lot of the not reviewed ones don't have photographs on them. So that's something that we're sort of encouraging and getting like trusted recorders. So you can also see stats of how many records people have submitted and how many species they've recorded. So it's quite useful. The newsletter has got quite, well, reasonably good Harvestmen presence. We've got a recording scheme news section now with just little updates and obviously a lot of the new arrivals, including Hystricostoma, I think I'm pronouncing that right. A potential new arrival that we've had reported recently. Potentially something that just came in on a plant, but it's definitely one to watch out for. The checklist has recently been updated. So that's available to all BAS members on the logged on section of the website, if you want to have a look. I've also been running a Dicranopalpus study just to get a bit more information about the Ramosus and Caudatus as they've been split a few years ago, and just to gain a bit of information about their distributions. So this is the aggregate, the ones that we're not sure because we can't identify them as they need specimens to be verified. So we've got a few blibs on the map for Caudatus and Ramosus. These are the census stricto, so the really confirmed ones that we know are definitely that species. So that's something that if you do want to get involved in some specimens, please do get in touch via the email. I'll put it on the last slide. So what's next for the future? More workshops and field days and meetups when we're allowed to do so. I'm quite excited about organising some events, regional or national events for collecting and recording things. And exploring all the existing records that we've got. So we've got a huge number of records. This winter I'll probably spend some time finding trends and patterns, especially for any invasive species or new species that might be, might have a bit more insight about their distribution, see if there's any trends. And then of course, gaining some knowledge about our new arrivals, because we don't really know anything about them. So that's something that's going to be coming in from records that people are submitting. So thank you for those that have done so already. There's been quite a good interest for new recorders as well. So that's brilliant. So if you'd like to get involved, please do email me at the top email address there. We've got our Twitter tag and our Facebook page there. So I'd love to hear any observations, any queries, any sort of ideas. Please get in touch. Thank you.